Good day, good day, good day. All right, let's see how we're doing and checking in this Sunday, September 28th. You guys let me know if you can in the chat down there. If you're here, I'm so glad that you are here. I'm excited if you are able to hear me. And it has been a minute since I've been on the wire. Oopsie. And part of that is just because I have been dragging. I don't know if it's the change of the weather or what, but there are moments where I just feel like, I don't know, like I just can't quite get my feet out of the mud. I hope you all don't have that issue. Anyway, welcome, guys. If you're here listening in and you can hear me, to another quick short chat of All for Success. The purpose of my chats are this is a Sussex friendly space. I am very Sussex positive. Duke and Duchess of Sussex. That is Harry and Meghan, yes, and the little ones, Archie and Lilybet. They are some of my faves as a fan. I come from the perspective of a mother of adult children, and I always say I wish I had Miss Doria's phone number because I would give her a call and she and I we could hang out and talk about life, okay? But that's what this channel is. That's what it's all about. And I do like to sometimes make a little bit of an observation of sometimes what I see happening in the world around them and how it might relate to what's going on with other things. You know, sometimes you don't think things are related, and then you'll sometimes see a thread cruising through them, right? But anyway, I hope you all are enjoying your day. Normally I do this in the morning, so I'm going to see how this works out in the afternoon. I'm bouncing around on times because I'm trying to get back in the flow. So please bear with me. Also, if you're having coffee, I always put my coffee up because, I can't move, do anything without coffee. So if that's how you feel, throw yourself some coffee together, and hopefully by the time I quickly end this chat, you can have enjoyed your cup of coffee. Now, the other thing I like to also encourage people to do is if instead they are excited and intense workout kings and queens, then I like to encourage people to enjoy a little bit of workout time and then have fun with that. Now, here's something really weird. All of a sudden, I come to my slides, folks, and you know what I see? Nothing. Can you explain to me why that is? Why is that the case? Why are my slides not showing up? Why is that? Can anybody answer that question? Now, you see, that's how things work out. Hold on a second. Now, I'm going to try to fumble around, and these are the kind of technical difficulties you do not want to experience when you are having fun doing these live moments. But now there was no reason for that. There really wasn't. None whatsoever. None whatsoever.
That she wants to become a brand like Martha Stewart. I want to be like Martha, she said.
I just read that today.
Well, you and I are reading the same sources.
Well, I'm flattered.
Give her the advice if she wants to do this.
I'm flattered and produce good products with that work and will help the homemaker have a nicer.
Wow. Guys and dolls, I have to tell you, this is very, very weird. Very, very weird. I don't know what happened to my slides. But listen, while I am trying to sort out that problem, what I am going to ask of all of you is let's see if we can I'll maybe put up some of the content of an older slide deck but I'll talk about the things I wanted to talk about in the current day. I mean, really, there was no reason for that. Okay? None whatsoever. No reason at all. So this is we'll just kind of go back through some of the older type of placards that I had up in the past. You got to be kidding me. Can anyone explain what is happening here? Anyone? I need someone to tell me what's happening. But listen, what I wanted to do is have some fun just chit-chatting about some of the things that we have seen over the past couple of weeks, right? What we have enjoyed is watching Harry make a quick trip back to London, right? He quickly ran home to spend some time working with his other charities, which are all fantastic, and he spent some time visiting with his father having tea. Now, put a one thumbs up in the chat. Put a, I don't know, yeah, I always say a thumbs up or a smiley face in the chat if you expected from his time in London, how many of you expected or waited to hear whether or not the royal family, the royal firm, or some type of media hype that was going to be around his visit, and that they were going to try to take a narrative and give a story about what happened while he was there? I mean, how many of you expected that? You know I was not surprised. So I'm just kind of jumping in the middle of this thing. Okay, so you knew that whether the visit went off well or didn't go off well, you had this feeling, you're like, okay, let's see how the media is going to take whatever is happening and bend the narrative to try to make some kind of story around his visit. All right, so here's what popped up. All right, what popped up for Harry after this visit, after this trip, even though he bounced over to Ukraine, and of course all of those things require for media and the pundits to come out on their television shows and quickly give whether they think he should or they think he shouldn't, whether it's a good look or a bad look. They have to come out and do that because, of course, that is the opportunity for work that Harry and Meghan give them. Any movement that they make is an opportunity for work product for these people, right? All right, so in the meantime, he goes over, he does his thing. Here's the story that came out recently. The recent story was that they had the meeting and they were attributing to Prince Harry discussions or talking about trying to reconcile. That's always one. Then they were attributing things like whether or not his children were going to go to school in London. Somehow that came up as something he may have talked about with his father. And whether or not he was going to spend more time working with the royal family. These are the type of storylines that were coming up and being attributed to Prince Harry, as if, these conversations were being leaked by Prince Harry, right? They also put out a storyline that he said he had a conversation with his father saying that he felt like an official visitor rather than family. Again, trying to have a storyline that they are pushing out to the public as if they were in the room with Prince Harry and King Charles. Now, this is the type of thing. Normally what they do is anything that is said in the public about what happens in a meeting with the royal family, media blares out all over the media how Prince Harry can't be trusted. Prince Harry is leaking information. Prince Harry is telling people this or that. And it's pretty obvious with this particular type of media replay of his visit that they just make these stories up. And it was interesting because Prince Harry in this particular circumstance actually responded officially that these reports are categorically false, that this wasn't a conversation they had at all. And I thought that that was a good thing, that he actually made it clear that this is not what he and the king talked about. But that is what they do. So in the middle of this embarrassment with them, the royal family itself is dealing with blowback from the normal things that they're going to have blowback from. The Prince Andrew appearance at the funeral for the Duchess of Kent. The Prince Andrew show of joviality. And of course, it's not up to him that he's being photographed, but all of these media personalities running around them who seem to think that there's a need to have Prince Andrew in a photograph. They film him at every opportunity. So there you have it. Prince Andrew is always going to be front and center, which, as far as they're concerned, is an embarrassment, right? Then we had the add-on story of the Duchess of York, which is Fergie, right? So here she shows up in a situation where there was conversation that she possibly had with the notorious Epstein, who has been accused of such nefarious crimes and then passed away later in prison, where she has to defend why she was apologizing and feeling like she had to distance herself from him. So now this hoopla shows up. Of course, all of this is happening pretty much simultaneously, like within days of each other. So what did that do? What that does is it lays out a stark contrast between how Harry and Meghan are handled, Prince Harry, Princess Meghan, were handled, the type of things that they were coming up against from the media, the type of support that they were getting or did not get. Because look how long a story like this with Fergie has been hidden in the background. This stuff that she's talking about, this is almost 30 years worth of information. Almost, right? But every single behavior that they have attributed to Prince Harry and Meghan as they were distancing themselves from the royal family are indeed worse behaviors by Prince Andrew and Fergie way back, right? So you ask yourself this question when we're looking at the contrast and the comparison. Why did they give Harry and Meghan such a hard time? Don't you wonder? Like, why did they feel the need to make their lives so difficult? You know, it looks like they closed ranks and tried their best to help Fergie and Prince Andrew. Or maybe it was simply because Prince Andrew and Fergie also have dirt on the other members of the family. You know? So I think those things are both possible. And that is what is happening in and around all of these particular types of events, right? So this is one time where I always am hopeful when I see I'm going to say the maneuver of Prince Harry and Meghan as it shifts. I notice they're being far more assertive when they are accused of something or if there's something blatantly false being attributed to them. It is really refreshing that they indeed are being assertive about it. Don't you agree? I think it's great. So, with that being said, let me see if I have some folks here just quickly. Let me quickly say good day to everyone who is here. If I can see you guys in the chat. Let me see who is on the line. Good day, Joyce Anderson saying good Sunday afternoon to you, all for success and everyone. Thank you, thank you. I am so honored to be here. You don't know that the honor is all mine, and I'm glad that you have taken a moment to swing by. Came for Concepts. Hello to all squaddies. I'm glad you jumped in to say hi to everybody. Thank you so much. Norma Campbell, all the thumbs up and same for you. Thumbs up is 100%. That means hopefully you can hear me. Thank you so much, Lorna Williams, for being here. You are a great one to be online as well. I love to see all of you super squaddies in the house, and I appreciate the time that you take to come out and join. I am not going to keep you here forever, but these are just some quick little things that I thought, guys, I need to share these thoughts with you and see if I'm the only one thinking these things. So the cool thing that I observed is that as far as what was said in the meeting between him and King Charles, that's Prince Harry and King Charles, is that was nobody's business. So if it was leaked or if someone did make a comment, obviously it was not Prince Harry. So he made that move by letting them know, I didn't make that statement. That's categorically false. So now, guys, you know what we got to do? Keep our ears and eyes open and see how are they going to backtrack what they're saying, or if they're going to backtrack. My bet is they'll just leave the lies hanging out there in the wind and just hope that people who believe the lies believe them, whether anyone else is interested or not. Because that has been their typical behavior. Fill the airwaves with lies, and it doesn't even matter, right? But in this particular case, I am so glad that Prince Harry made a counter statement. He made a counter statement. And I appreciate that of him, because basically I think it is time to be on notice over there, just like anywhere else. It is time for people to be on notice that the jokes are over and that the lies you tell will not just be left laying, right? So the royal firm, it's in its own glory. They had best start saying what they mean and meaning what they say publicly. The days of hiding behind the curtain are beginning to come apart. And that is with everything that they are doing. Right? At least that is how I look at it. So that's why it's a no-brainer to continue to support Harry and Meghan, because at the very, very least, they are making sense in what they do. Right? Now, Meghan, of course, we love to watch them operate because Meghan, of course, has kind of closed her show. The season has kind of wrapped up, but the show is still available for everyone to watch over and over, which is great. It did very well. I ordered some more products. I'm still going to order another case of the wine because everyone that I shared it with, really, the people who drink wine, really enjoyed it. And I have enjoyed the things like the honeys and the spreads. So I know I sound like a commercial, but hey, if you're interested in those items, I think it would be fun to get them, at least something here or there, just to see what it's all about. And I like the products, even though, what have they done? They've kind of masked them out, making them more of a largely produced item. But they do very well. So I hope other people enjoy them just as much as I do. Right? And remember, as far as the anti-media, they know, just like we know, that talking negatively about Meghan makes them money. It's just that simple. They don't really have anything else to do or to go on. Making money off of Meghan. And of course, as many people will note, it's nothing worse than trying to find someone that you're living in their shadow, making money off of creating adversity in their life. But that's exactly what they do. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's see what else I wanted to hype up. I believe, as has been noted in so many other of the various podcasters who do a lot of Sussex material, because these folks who they spend a lot of times definitely doing deep dives in the calendar that is listed on Archwell, and they pay very close attention to the website that is provided also by Prince Harry and Meghan. So what we found out is that there's an announcement coming up soon, I believe in October. They will be set to receive another honor. And of course, this is always good news because it lets you know that there are people who still want to work with them doing good things. And that honor involves, if I'm not mistaken, it's the honor in receipt working for the Humanitarian Award of the Year. And it's the type of work that they've been doing around mental health, the type of symposiums and conferences that they attend talking about mental health. Now, as a side, this is a sideline. As a side, they focus their attention often on what may be happening as young people, especially adolescents, are involved in using social media or the type of applications that are available on our phones. You know, because children now, even young kids now, are also operating with these devices, right? Everyone is using a device. You're not connected to what's going on if you don't have your device, right? Now, on the other hand, I like social media like almost because remember, I'm a little bit more than a teenager, right? So I like social media in the same way that I like television. For me, and I'm not sure about everyone in my generation, but for me and most, social media, television, they are entertainment, and we have always used it as such. I will say, I am shocked, okay? Shocked, I tell you, when I learn so many people who are middle-aged and older pay attention to social media and things that they see come across the feeds in their various social platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the like, and they react to it as if it's real and happening to them instantaneously. It is shocking to me that there are people who feel this way and operate this way. But believe it or not, there are middle-aged people and older that operate this. They believe everything they see on social media. You know, it's akin to me in the old days when you would get junk mail, you know, or advertisements for things. And, you know, these are ads and it was trash, and it was like, you need to throw that in the trash. But they can't seem to recognize that same feature on social media. Now, that's older people. So with the younger people and the adolescents, it's like that, but it's also plus deriving a sense of connection via various social applications or different things that they are doing, whether it's playing games or being in chat rooms. And these people are having a really difficult time separating their true persona from whatever it is they are interacting with. Bullying is occurring online. People are putting other people's pictures up online. They're talking about people in a very intimate way across text messages. And these things are creating a space for young people that if they have any sort of embarrassment, instantaneously their entire friend group is made aware of it. And these things take a toll. And so I am so pleased that they are working in this space where they understand how social media work, how dangerous it can become, and the damage that it can do in and around individuals who use social media frequently and are not able, or they feel unable, to disconnect from it, right? Because sometimes you'll say to yourself, you know, if someone is picking on how you looked and they're telling everyone that you know, that you could just unplug from it and disconnect and act like it didn't happen, that's very hard to do, even for an adult. So imagine trying to do that and you're an adolescent or a teen. So I'm not sure what type of progress Harry and Meghan are able to influence in that area, but I do agree that nowadays we need as much of that as possible to be looked at, and for people to assist each other in trying to move forward through those type of spaces, because it is really, really devastating and causing lots of problems. So, if you know people who are working in these areas and having these same difficulties, do your best to try to encourage them to also stay ahead and stay on top of that. So, as we know, Prince Harry and Meghan's focus on the various big items they want to do and work on may be different, but they just seem to interlink in the level of concern that they have in supporting people. And that is what makes them a very formidable team, right? They are a very formidable team. They're matched, in many, many ways. So when you look across the water, right, to their counterparts that are constantly trying to drag them across the coals and bring down, make negative everything that they do, it's having a difficult time sticking because people are looking at the opposite on the other side of the realm, and they can see if they are paying attention. Now, of course, some people, they're lost. They'll never get it. But for those who are paying attention, they can see that there is a stark difference between the way they handle the missions that they're interested in and the way those across the pond pretend to handle the humanitarian issues that they are associated with, right? And for example, they are generally about taking a photo and being seen looking as if they are doing something. They're not really concerned with any substance being in it, right? And let's go back. Let's take a moment and let's understand what their world is. It is totally a world of pretend and make believe, right? So we should never forget that. It is indeed a world where very little is in this reality. And that is because, and I'll drift into conspiracy theory level here, that is because their entire kingdom is set up simply to maintain their power, right? And in doing so, it is very difficult to know who are the real players, because the performance that is given to everyone else is only given to keep you operating the way they want you to operate, right? That is the only purpose for how everything is set up. you know. Now, I don't want to be a negative, where they say I don't want to be a negative Nancy, but that's truly how it works. You know, it's just set up to maintain that structure of control, dominance, and an appearance of a world, an appearance of a hierarchy that basically keeps you in check and not asking too many questions. So it is incumbent upon them that everyone plays into their role and that they never give up the reality, which is they're not really like that. You know, and people like Fergie and her issues, people like Prince William and his issues, Princess Kate and their difficulties in trying to stay engaged, you know, it's showing up, right? And then you have people who are really doing work that they believe in, whether they get extraordinary accolades for it or not, is Prince Harry and Princess Meghan. Okay? And that is the difference. Yes? Now, I'm going to divert here for a moment. And I don't want to upset you guys. But I hope you have a moment. I don't know if you're aware, but here in the U.S., they had a meeting at the United Nations. Now, boys and girls, I don't know if you know what the United Nations is, what it's all about, but generally speaking, it's where the presidents of every nation on the planet are supposed to gather and talk about, you know, what is important for the whole planet, for the world. You know, what's important for us to think about, talk about, and what are we looking at from the viewpoint of everyone in the world. So I'm going to play you a short clip of our current president here, and I'm going to do a quiz. I'm going to play you two clips. I'm going to play you the short clip of our U.S. speaking. It's just going to be really, really short. And I want you to kind of listen, and it's going to be really short, and you kind of get a vibe. And I want you to just, if you were going to jot down in the chat, what is the vibe after I play him first? What's the vibe? And then I'm going to play you a second person speaking, another president. He's from Ghana. And same thing. I want you to listen to the second president and tell me what you think is the vibe. Okay? So stand by. Let's see if I can get these to play. First, our U.S. president. So just drop in the chat if you have a moment. What is the vibe?
I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Climate change.
Representatives from a group of 14 nations gathered in Berlin for a series of discussions that began in 1884 and which led to the partitioning and formal colonization of the African continent, which is also called the Scramble for Africa. It has famously been written that past is prologue. Well, in the past, the majority of the 54 nations that now comprise Africa were never offered a seat at the table where plans for a new world order were being drawn. But, Madam President, as fate would have it, the tables are turning, and Africa's role in the authorship of whatever is yet to come for this world is going to be huge, and it will be consequential. Representatives from...
So I hope that wasn't too poorly played. I hope you could hear it. So here's what I want to ask you. If you were able to hear those two clips, and I hope you were. If you weren't, then I would say if you're a real nerd, if you're a real government nerd, then you're going to have to watch the replay of the UN of the UN speeches, and then you can have fun listening to all of those. But I want you to tell me, did you pick up any particular vibes there? I don't know if you did. I'm just being kind of funny because I'm thinking to myself, for me, one of these people, one of those speakers, made me feel sad. And another of those speakers, one of the other speaker made me think, gee, there's going to be some fun going on in the future. It's a lot coming up in the future. That's my take on those two speeches. So I am hoping that you all had the same type of response that I did. And I must say, with the speaker that gave me this thought that, gee, there is going to be a bright future, I want to relay that same thought to all of you. No matter how difficult things become, no matter how difficult times become, just be aware, be advised that there will probably be an opportunity for a brighter future. Just make sure you're looking where it's going to be coming from. Look at the direction that it will definitely take. Right? So I hope that was fun. I always like to play these kind of games. So listen, for entertainment's sake, guys, as I always do, and I'm not trying to ruin your day, but I always like to throw a scripture out there to entertain you. And listen, give you something to think about, because in listening to those two speakers, that is exactly what I wanted to highlight, is listen. Roll over to Colossians if you have a chance, 3:13, and just remember, bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. Now, here's my take on these wonderful scriptures that I like to throw out there before I wrap it up. That doesn't mean accept any and all behavior from people. And it also doesn't mean folks do not receive the consequences of what they do. It just simply means try your best to forgive people, as best you can. And that is simply to lighten your load, not so much about what it is that person did that you're dealing with. So listen, once again, I'm going to wrap it up. I see we had a couple more comments. Let me see who I missed. I see Joyce Anderson let us know that she still watches the lifestyle and she loves it. And I want you to know, I love it too. And I think that's going to wrap up all of my commenters. Guys, thank you so much for joining, listening to my chat. I'm going to try to do a little bit more and get myself together if I can stop having technical glitches. Listen, please join me and help keep me on my toes, and also help me improve this work that I do, because it is the attitude of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex that I think will take us better to our futures. Yes, and I think that we can all use an opportunity to be more positive rather than negative. So with that said, thank you for joining All for Success. Feel free to look and learn and have some fun in the chat. As I start to get myself more monetized and get myself together, get my act together, then eventually I will be able to work through CASHapps and get people to donate if you are interested. Every donation will assist me in trying to make this a better product, okay? So, with that being said, thank you so much, so much for being here.